Hey there, Solid Signal fans. I wanted to share with you the assembly experience for Winegard's Elite 360 antenna. Why? Because it's not as straightforward as they make it seem. I'm going to give you the secrets that you're not going to find anywhere else. And believe me, once you watch this video, it's going to save you a lot of time. If this video had been around when I was making this video, it would have saved me a lot of time, that's for sure. So let's dig in. The first thing that you'll need to know is that you'll need tools. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver and either an 11mm or 7/16 inch wrench. Either will do. Also, you can use an adjustable wrench if you need to. Now take a look at the bottom of this antenna, and what you'll see is that the connection point actually sits under this attachment bracket. This means you're going to want to test fit everything and snake the cable all the way through before screwing everything down. This is a picture of the bracket after I had to take it apart because I forgot to do this step. Now make sure this little notch is lined up with the Winegard logo and attach the bottom plate with 4 of the small Phillips head screws. Now again, you're going to have the cable coming out of here because you're going to do it right the first time, unlike the way I did it. At this point, push one of the bolts into the hole. It's going to take a couple of tries before you get it absolutely perfect. And you're going to want to secure it with one of the lock nuts. This is a lock nut. It's got a nylon insert on the inside. That's how you know that it is a lock nut. Tighten it all the way down with a wrench and try to be careful because if you push against the wrong piece of plastic, it will crack. Do the same thing with the other bracket. This is the bracket for going to a mast. If you want to mount directly to an eave, you'll want to use this bracket instead. But I didn't really do that in this case because I really do recommend mast mounting. These U-bolts go through the bracket. You can use the braces, but you'll only need them for a very, very thin mast. For a 1 1/4 inch mast, you won't need them. Use washers and bolts to attach them, but do not tighten them down at this point. Leave them nice and loose so that you can go back and tighten them once it goes on the mast. Here's where you'll use the other bolts, the ones without the nylon insert. Because there are 2 mounting options, you are going to end up with extra parts. This is perfectly normal and do not worry about it. The last thing you'll want to take note of is that you will need this power injector. It uses a mini USB cable, which is pretty rare these days, but luckily you get one. Just make sure you connect it correctly. One side says ant/amp, that goes toward the antenna, and the other side goes to the TV. Even though it took a little longer to assemble this antenna than I anticipated, I still had time to stick it on the meter and give it some really good real-world testing. I tested about 60 miles away from the towers, which is more than this antenna is rated for, so it's a really good test. Remember, the signal-to-noise ratio is going to be the most important number when you're talking about digital antennas. And this one did not disappoint. Although I didn't pick up every channel in the market, I picked up quite a few of them, and performance was really good all the way from one end to the other. There were 2 channels that got signal but didn't lock in, 9 and 24. That's really not that bad for such a long distance. When I do testing, I take a length of bare wire, test it with the meter, and then measure the antenna against that bare wire. You see again those 2 frequencies where in one case the antenna didn't even do as well as bare wire, and in the other case it was a little bit low. I just have to say, since I didn't see a lock on those channels, since I really didn't see good performance, it's just probably that they're a little further away or a little weaker than the other channels. You know, one of the trends that we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years of antenna design is to take a small antenna and just stick a scorching amplifier on it. And I would say that this particular antenna falls into that category neatly. As you can see up toward the high end, you got 40 to 45 dB of gain compared to the unamplified signal, which, by the way, it's really great that this antenna will work without an amplifier, but the results were not spectacular from 60 miles, as I would not expect them to be. There's a lot of amplification here in order to get signal levels up to a normal kind of range, but since signal to noise is also very strong, I would say I approve. It works. You know, I really didn't expect this antenna to do anything at 60 miles. I mean, 55 miles is supposed to be its outside range. It didn't perform as well as a large directional antenna, but I didn't expect it to. It did very respectfully. So if you're between major cities and you've got signals coming from two different directions, you should really consider this antenna. It's going to do very well for you. And of course, you know you can get it at solid signal because that's what we're here for. We make your digital life better. See you next time.